Welcome back to Across the Board with E and the Colonel on Hawk Radio, hawkradio.org. One of our favorite bands here. We've got a lot that we're really into, and you know, we have the pleasure to be able to interview bands that we are into, not just bands that are forced on us, but we put on who we want to listen to. One of our favorite current bands, Nonpoint. Love these guys. New album, just rules. And live with us right now, KB, the bassist from Nonpoint. KB, are you there?
Yeah, what's going on, man?
Not much, just chilling. So, talking about the tour, you know, we're pumped. We're going to see you guys out at the Record Theater in Towson. You guys are on tour with In This Moment right now, right?
Yeah, we're out doing the co-headlining thing with them, and we have a third band on the package called Taking Dawn that's opening the whole shindig.
Nice. Taking Dawn. I have to look into them. Not familiar with them yet. Nice. So let's talk a little bit about the band. First off, you guys formed way back in '97 out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And talk a little bit about the origin of the name. That's something in our research we haven't been able to come across. Where did Nonpoint come from?
The name was taken from there was an old thrash band called Believer, and there was a track that Rob loved on the album that was basically talking about like non-point source pollution, which is scientifically it's a pollution that can't be traced back to any source. But I think it was just the fact that he had such an affinity for the song and he loved the name of it that it just kind of had a good ring to him. So when he gathered the troops and put everything together, we ended up sticking with that. And over the years, we give people different little stories and anecdotes about where it came from, including like shop teachers with no fingers getting mad at us in class and stuff. But it's just kind of like it's taken on its own meaning. We don't really have like any kind of deep meaning for the name. It just kind of it was what it was at the time, and we kind of grew into it.
Yeah, I like it. It's definitely a rock name. It's just one of those you don't really think about. You're like, that's a sweet name. Wonder what it means. But yeah, I like
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, right. It was the best sometimes, like Stone Temple Pilots means nothing, Yeah. So, you guys, the new album is Miracle, just released this past May, and you actually got to work with Chad Gray and Greg Tribbett of Mudvayne, and I know Chad actually sings on he sings on Miracle.
Miracle, yeah.
And he helped kind of, I guess, spawn the growth, the maturity of the song Frontlines, right?
Yeah, having the two of them on board was just, it was an experience we'd never had before. We'd always basically just done production on the albums by ourselves, or when we were working with the Bealers, Jason Beeler would come in and kind of oversee this everything. But they were the actual first producers that we'd had come in and work with us, and just having their insight and their ability to take our not our emotional investment in the music, but when you create something like that, you have four different very strong personalities that all feel like this is how this should go, or this is how this should be said, or this riff is way better than that other riff, and it's when you have an outside ear going, no guys, this is really like I hear how it should go, it makes the recording process a lot easier. And having their insight on the record was just it was invaluable. And actually Frontline started out as a more roundabout kind of message, and Chad sat with Elias and was like, look, there's a really strong sentiment in here that you can just knock out of the park. And when they started sitting down and working on it really came together. And the track went through so many different stages of metamorphosis that we could have written four different songs with all the different material that we had. But the way it came out was just it was exactly what we were trying to get across, but we wouldn't have been able to do it without the guidance of the outside ear of Chad and Greg.
Now, you guys have also done numerous cover songs as well throughout your years. You did obviously the cover of In the Air Tonight. 5 Minutes Alone was another cover you guys did. I want to talk a little bit about that. This was for the Dimebag tribute album that came out from Metal Hammer. Did you guys choose to do the song 5 Minutes Alone, or were you asked to do that song? And if so, why 5 Minutes Alone?
Well, the weirdest thing was probably the timing on it. We were actually in the studio recording Miracle, and we had 3 days left in the studio, and Zach found it online or something that they were doing a tribute, so he brought it up to management, and they hit up Metalhead. Was it Metal Hammer or Metal Edge?
Metal Hammer.
Yeah.
It's been more than 2 weeks, so I can't remember. So basically, they were like, "Oh hell yeah, we'd love to have you on board, this and that." And they sent us a list of songs. And 5 Minutes Alone was one of the songs that had not been chosen by the other bands that were on the compilation. Strangely enough.
Yeah. How is that possible?
I really don't want to say what I really think, but I'm going to. When Zach and I started trying to piece together the song and trying to learn the riffs, it is one of the most agitating groupings of notes that we've ever encountered in trying to play a song or learn a song or even write a song. And the fact that Dime tuned his notes sour to begin with on purpose, which is what gave it that his very distinct sound, and their songs that just had that bite to them. Just trying to figure the thing out was just a nightmare, and we literally had about a 2-day span where we could learn the song and get it down, and then make sure that it was clean enough to go to press. But at the same time, it was super fun because it was like being a kid again, trying to figure out what your idols are playing or whatever, and so it was a great learning experience. But that's my take on it. There's so many other way more talented musicians out there that are in bands that probably could have picked it right up. But
yeah, you would think Cowboys from Hell and then 5 Minutes Alone would be the top two right there. Maybe
my first pick would have been This Love, but then 5 Minutes Alone would have been the second.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many you can pick from, but I mean, everybody's got their own personal experience with that band's individual songs. So I mean, there could have been any number of reasons why it wasn't picked, but yeah, I mean, and we just got the opportunity to pay homage to one of the single most greatest musicians of at least the last 2 generations.
Absolutely right.
So we were lucky in that aspect.
Now, the video for Miracle, here on our show, we always do, sports update, especially including an MMA update. Had a lot of UFC fighters on the show. It's a big part in our hearts. And I noticed in the video for Miracle, you have multiple chicks fighting, and it's sort of an MMA style fight. So it's sweet because it's MMA, and it's sweet because it's a chick fight. So, but talk about where that came from.
Basically, that was an idea of the director Rage. We had a sentiment that we were trying to get across with the song, and I mean, for what it was and the time frame that we had, because we were literally jammed onto the set, and it was last minute. I think we found out 2 days before we were shooting the video that it was going through because of the opportunity that we had to jump onto a set that was already pretty much set up. I mean, all in all, it came out really good. The visual styling in it is really good. But I'm not too sure about how keen I am on girls beating up on each other. But I mean, it was, the storyline followed through. It was what we were trying to get across.
Right.
And I mean, we've always been a fan of fighting and stuff. I mean, I've said many times that if I wasn't playing music, then I would be in MMA, but like competing professionally.
Nice.
So it's like, I've trained for years and just, I've never been able to really get into it on the level that I'd be able to compete, because if I break something like a hand or something, I'm kind of out of a job. So.
Yeah. Same with us. We've both trained in it for years, and every week you get some kind of severe injury. So that could definitely put you out of a job for a while, like you said. Now, you guys have had a lot of popular singles. What a Day was one of your first big singles. Bullet with a Name, my personal favorite's Alive and Kicking. Love that tune. As the bassist, what's your favorite to play?
Honestly, man, it's like when I get on stage, it doesn't become a blur. It's more like a frenzy. And there's songs that I don't like playing just because of the amount of times that we've actually run through them. Being on tour for a decade now. I mean, we've played quite a few songs over and over and over again. But,
right.
I mean, things like Alive and Kicking and stuff are fun just because like the intricacies and musically, I mean, I wrote the music for that song, so I mean, I kind of have like a special affinity for that one. But
yeah, you're the man.
Right. Anything that is going to get the people to the point where they're either beating each other or they're like screaming back at me louder than I'm screaming at them. Like, anything like that is I'm gonna love playing live.
I like that. That's a good philosophy.
That is good. It makes you more of a crowd pleasing band more than just getting up there and making something. This is us.
Yeah.
And what about the cover of "In the Air Tonight"? I mean, are you guys Phil Collins fans? And obviously, your bass playing was really showcased in that version of the song. Tell us about that.
Yeah, man, it was weird the way that whole thing came together. We're '80s children.
Yeah, us too.
I was in New Jersey when Miami Vice came out, but I still watched it like every time it came on, and had dreams of maybe going to Miami one day. And funny enough, I ended up down there and ended up hating it. But Elias was down there, and we grew up in that era, the era of Miami Vice, and we were tossed around the idea of doing a cover song on the album one day, and one of our crew guys, just as a joke, was like, "Yeah, you guys should do that song because it is so dark and it has this ominous vibe about it, but it doesn't really ever get rocking, So it was cool that we were able to take a song that had that much energy in it, but didn't ever really explode. So in that aspect, we were able to kind of make it our own. So we were sitting on it, and it's the same type of scenario with the 5 Minutes Alone, where we had a couple days left in the studio, and we just had some extra time, and we threw it together, and it wasn't knocking it out the box yet. So, I got a chance to take it home and sit with it for like 6-8 hours. And I just ran through and I started doing all these harmonic stuff over everything. And that really brought everything together. And I didn't realize how well it was going to work until after it had been recorded and they mixed it through. And everybody was like, holy crap, this is really going to work. We're really going to do a cover of this song. So, and the funny thing was we did that song, I think it was 2 or 3 years before the movie came out. So we didn't even have intentions of it being used for anything. It just kind of ended up that way.
Yeah, nice. It's definitely a dark, dark song, and I'm glad you pointed that out. I'm a huge Phil Collins fan. I'm a drummer myself, so when you really listen to that song, it is such a dark song.
Well, KB, actually, if you said you were a big Miami Vice fan, did you picture yourself as Tubbs or Crockett?
I don't know. Tubbs and Crockett never really got to unleash on anybody. I was more like one of the underlings with the shotguns that ended up
nice.
In a fury of fire. But,
now you were. Go ahead.
I don't know. I'd have to say Crockett if I had to.
Now you've been on tour all year. You've been with Cold and Drowning Pool. You've been through Ozfest, and you're still wrapping up your tour now. You've got Soundwave coming up next year, and that's turned in such a huge festival over the past 4 years. What does that mean to you guys to be able to play on such a huge stage over in Australia?
Just the fact that we've already got a following over there is just ridiculous in and of itself. Knowing that it just really shows the power of the internet, and like when people really like a style of music, that it's going to get out regardless. But so that in and of itself is an honor to be able to play over there. And then to be part of such, an apparently huge movement over there. We actually hadn't heard of the Soundwave Festival until probably about 8 months ago, when it was, when talks of us going over there had begun. And we've done a little research, and just the scope of it is insane. It basically covers the entire continent, but the way the continent is set up, it's only the outskirts of it that we can really play. So it's going to be interesting because from what we've been told, it's only fly dates. So you play a show, and then you fly to the next show, and then you fly to the next show. So,
wow, that's exhausting, huh?
Yeah, Rob and I are not comfortable flying whatsoever. So that's going to be an interesting string of events. To be proceeded in by a 14-hour flight, and then
I think
again right afterwards.
Yeah, the U.S. to Australia is like a 24-hour flight. I think it's something crazy. I've never been myself, but yeah, wow. Yeah, you're gonna have to take something to keep yourself relaxed on that. Well, speaking of that, what do you do to get ready for show days? I know you have a show tonight, and you guys are having you're pretty much doing some kind of show every single night. What do you do to get prepared for your shows and get pumped and everything?
I don't know, man. I call it war mode. It's like I got a different mentality than probably a lot of people do when I get up there. I'm very in touch with my Scottish lineage. So, and it really sounds ridiculous, like when I sit here and talk about it, but
whatever gets you going, man.
Yeah, I just envision myself going into battle, dude. You know, it's like the bands that we play with, you know, there's always friendly competition with the other bands on the tour because, I mean, when you break it down, that's what it is. You know, it's like you're garnering for the attention of the fans, and you know, you go out there and you just do your best, and you want to leave them with the best impression possible. And you couple that with the fact that like we are so lucky to be in a position that we get to do what we love for a living. Like these people pay a lot of money to come see a show. So we want them to be entertained. We want them to go, you know, okay, that was well worth the money that I spent, you know. Not like a lot of the bands where you go see them and it's kind of like, oh, all right, they just stood there. You know, I could have saved the money listening to the CD and taken my girl out or something, you know. So, you know, you get those two elements going on in my head before a show, and it's super kill time.
Nice. I've had that experience before. I saw Megadeth a few years ago, and it was such a heartless performance, and it was so disappointing because it was Megadeth, but it was a heartless performance. They really were not. They didn't care one bit about what they were doing up there.
Yeah, that's great that you guys do that. You have to appreciate bands that you're putting 100% into it every night, and I can't imagine how tough that must be to be on the road and have that energy every single night.
After a while, your body gets used to it, you know, and it's more so your brain because, like I said, we do get sucked into another place when we're up there. You know, it's not just like we're on stage now. It's like, hey, we're a part of something bigger. You know, that I mean, we get to do this, and these people come out and they support us, and we're sharing in this thing. You know, and a lot of the times I sit there and like I don't really see individuals in the crowd because it is such a blur. But then after the show, I wonder about like who's going where. And, you know, like how much of an impact did we have on these people's lives this week that we could at least make them forget about like maybe a job they're unhappy with for the next couple days, or like maybe they just had a breakup and they needed to get all that frustration out. And, you know, so it's, you know, I don't know if that's me just trying to give myself more value as far as like what I do for a living, so I don't feel bad about, hey, I live on a tour bus and I like every night's, you know, an awesome hangout and stuff. But it really does make me feel better about, you know, utilizing my time out here in a more beneficial manner.
I dig that. That's great too. You know, because we're already big fans of you guys, and just through talking to you now, I'm actually a bigger fan with you saying that kind of stuff. I mean, that's like you said, the economy's rough, and people don't have that much money, so the money they put into a show or a CD, you know, they want to get something out of it. So that you put that much back into your art, that's incredible.
Anybody who's in this position doesn't deserve to be where they're at.
Agreed.
That's just the truth, you know.
Now, this is a two-part question, real quick.
Right.
What band that you've toured with over the years was the most fun for you to tour with, the most interesting to tour with, and what band that you haven't toured with yet you want to tour with?
Oh man, it's like we've got. I don't know. We always get hit with that second part, but it's like I never have a truly satisfying answer for myself. But I would have to say the craziest band we ever toured with was Head PE.
I can believe that.
I agree. I can see that.
Like back in their heyday, back in the broke days and everything, and Blackout and stuff. I mean, they were just, those guys were like Motley Crue, but you know, in a compact version. Like every night was a party. I mean, and like beyond reasonable measures, you know.
Right.
Like we actually, our bus was deemed a library on our first tour with them because their crew would actually come to our bus because it was so quiet and so peaceful, and you'd walk on our bus and people would be reading or on their laptops, and their crew started to one by one on an individual basis every night come and sneak away on our bus and grab a nap or sit here and watch TV quietly or something like that. So we were very affectionately deemed the library because of the fact that it was such a bipolar personality from what was going on in their bus on a daily basis.
Wow, those guys are raging over there, huh?
Dude, unreal. And they're still all alive. I mean, they're just like supermen or something, you know, superior genetics of some sort. So I mean, that would definitely be like the craziest band we've ever toured with. And American Head Charge would have to be the second, only because, I mean, during Ozfest in 2001, the guitar player got arrested for just walking around Ozfest and playing on stage naked. You know, I mean,
I remember that.
And everything, just and like and those guys were always like that. There was always something going on. So, I mean, they'd place a second, but not anywhere near like Head PD. But, and as far as personal satisfaction, love them or hate them, I'm a huge Clutch fan.
Oh yeah,
yes,
So, like,
great call. And they're from Maryland, our home state
Yeah.
here.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, hometown boys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like I don't get. It's not even a starstruck type of thing. It's an admiration thing where you're in this business for so long, and you've toured with bands, and even going on tours like Soundwave and stuff like that. I'm going to be playing with one of my all-time idols, which is Iron Maiden. We're going to be playing with them every night, and it's like it's cool and it's awesome, and I'm going to be a part of it. But the appreciation I have for the music that Clutch delivers is just like, I mean, I can't wait. I couldn't wait to just sit on the side stage with on a beach chair with a Crown and Diet or something every night, and just chill and watch the show. Just because it's a vibe that it just really brings everything home for me. So I think if I had to choose a band that wasn't Pink Floyd, it would be Clutch to go on tour with.
Wow.
Nice. That would be
that says a lot.
Sick tour, by the way. Nonpoint and Clutch. We have to make that happen somehow. Jeez.
Please and thank you. Yeah,
yeah, right. Yeah, we're that's a good one. So I know you guys, like you said, you're going to Soundwave, and you've got all these things going on. So tell all of our listeners where they can keep up with you guys. Obviously Nonpoint.com, the website, MySpace. I mean, do you guys Twitter and all of that, or?
Yeah, we got Nonpoint on Twitter, and we got Facebook/Nonpoint. Any of the media outlets, man. Any of the places you can find people online, just put a / on Nonpoint, and you'll find us there. There's we try and do as many tour updates as possible. We just got some new dates for January and February that just went up. If they haven't gone up, they will be in the next couple of days. But I mean, always updating, always on tour. We literally tour between 7 and 9 months a year, depending on the market and where we're at as far as our album cycle. So we just go and go and go, man.
What do you do in your downtime then? If you're on tour for 9 months a year, when you get home, you just cut the grass or something like a normal person, or?
No, man. Well, luckily I have lawn people from the house that I'm in, so
nice.
that works for me. But downtime is just that downtime. I don't do anything, and I don't I sit on the couch and I play Xbox Live with all my buddies, and I chill with my dog, and that's it, man. I like to be a homebody. I spend my life in noisy clubs and out in the bright lights and talking to crazy people, and when I'm at home, I just want to decompress and kind of relax.
No doubt. What's your game on Xbox?
Oh, Modern Warfare.
Nice. Now, have you played the new one? What's it? Black Ops?
Yeah, I went to my cousin's house on Thanksgiving, and I was able to play Black Ops. I purposely didn't bring my Xbox because I couldn't stand the torture of Black Ops coming out and then not being able to get online.
Right.
So I just decided if it's out of sight, out of mind. But I got to play the multiplayer, which is really cool. I'm a little iffy on not being able to get multiple play mores. I'm kind of upset about that. But the zombies game was pretty cool. The zombies mini game was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I haven't played it yet, but I want to check it out.
It's very interesting.
Have you played the UFC game? You said you're into MMA.
Yeah, I get frustrated. If it's not a 2D a 2D fighter. I'm a huge Street Fighter fan. But when it comes, I'll play a sim shooter or a sim first person shooter. Fine, Rainbow Six or something like that. I like it way better than the arcade Halo type games. But I can't do a sim fighter. Because it's aggravating. I'm if what do you mean I can't throw a fireball? What do you mean I can't? So I would rather just train and watch MMA
right.
than play it on a game. But I mean, from all the reviews that I've read and all my buddies that have it, they love it. They said it's sick. So I mean, it might be something I'll have to pick up on the off time. But I mean, come on, Black Ops is out, so I don't think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll have to check it out. I'll have to hop on the tour bus and whip you in some UFC or some Black Ops then. So we'll be out at the show in Towson at the Record Theater. And again, check these guys out. They're finishing up the tour with In This Moment. Going to be on Soundwave. Again, we will be there in Towson. So listeners, if you're anywhere in this area, check them out. We actually broadcast through the internet here, KB. So we have listeners all over the place, Europe, Asia. So when they come out your way, I don't know if we have any listeners in Australia. Nobody's checked in from there, but it's possible. So
we have to make that happen.
Yeah, they're going to be playing the entire continent of Australia next year.
Yeah,
so
ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, again, we appreciate it. The new album, Miracle, is out right now. Frontlines and Miracle are the two songs you can hear. Their old stuff, What a Day, Bullet with a Name, Alive and Kicking, again, my personal fave. Go check them out, pick up the albums, and support these guys while they're on tour, please. KB, thanks a lot. We appreciate the time.
Thank you.
And,
I mean, without you guys, it's hard to get the word out there. So, I mean, we really, really, really appreciate this.
Absolutely. That's what we do.
Do anything we can.
Absolutely. Again, this is Across the Board with E and the Colonel on Hawk Radio.
HawkRadio.org.